Something just happened, and I feel the need to talk to um, everybody about it. And it has to do with having a backup plan for every aspect of your life. I was just lying in bed this morning thinking about my life, the weekend, and what plans I have. And then I had a knock on my door. Apparently, it's my neighbor, my next door neighbor. He has his phone, his internet, his cable with Spectrum. And Spectrum has been out from yesterday. And he felt disconnected from the world. So he had me on my phone watching TikTok, watching Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, can I use your phone to make a call?" Apparently, he wanted to call Spectrum to find out why the service is out because his phone is out, his internet is out. So even though Spectrum is sending alerts, he's not getting any of these alerts. And the reality of it is Spectrum in this instance has been sending alerts out from yesterday. Like I mentioned, I don't use Spectrum for my phone. I use Boost, so I was still connected to the world some way, somehow. I only use Spectrum for internet. And they sent a letter, I think 10 p.m. yesterday, talking about the network being out, like their service being out, and will be restored by 12 a.m. They sent another alert that it will be restored at 2 a.m., another that it will be restored at 4 a.m., another that will be restored at 6 a.m., another that will be restored at 8 a.m. And currently they mentioned it will be restored at 10 a.m. But then the time currently is 10, 12, and it has still not been restored. So even though they are sending alerts, but all the people that are with them will not receive the alert because their service is over. Sorry, their service is down. So you don't receive calls, you don't receive text messages, you don't have internet to even access your email. So you are 100% disconnected only because you have everything enrolled with one service. It got me thinking, and I was asking myself, hey, what if I also had all my phone, my cable, and my internet or Spectrum? It meant that I would also be disconnected from the world. And this got me thinking on the need to always have a backup plan. And this does not just apply to phone, cable, and internet. It applies to every aspect of our lives. Because at any point in time in this technological world, something can happen. Your internet can be out. There can be anything at all can happen that would cause your single reliable source of something to be disconnected. And I was like, hey, what if I also had everything with them? And it cuts across every aspect of your life. How many bank accounts do you have? You save with Chase, and they are the best bank, so you don't want to switch. You save with Bank of America, and they are the best bank, so you keep all your money there. Yeah, that's fine. But then understand that services can break. You can find yourself in a situation where probably your Chase or your Bank of America is not working. It's different when there is a total outage of, let's say, all the financial services. Like recently, when we had a software break that grounded all the airports. That is a unique incident. That can crash everything, and there's nothing you can do about it. But talking about contingency, if you have a single bank account, ask yourself, what if something happens to this bank? What alternates do I have? You know, and this does not refer to, or it doesn't make any difference when you have money or you don't have money. It's just talking about the need to have a backup plan. Don't have just one bank account, have multiple bank accounts, at least two that you keep active such that when one breaks down, you have an alternate. Have a side hustle. Yeah, I know there's a lot of noise on having side hustles and all those things. Not everybody can have a side hustle, but just think around it. What if your employer goes bankrupt? Or something happens and your employer can't keep you? Or something happens and your employer runs out of business? It means your source of livelihood is over. But then, in as much as we are working towards like sustainability. We are working towards existence. We are working towards survival. There is the need for us to think about unforeseen circumstances that might ground us, that might ground the services we rely on. Yes, you can have the best service from one particular source, and all you think about is, hey, let me pull all my friends and family onto the service. Let me enroll in, let me switch all related services to this particular organization because I believe and I trust they are the best. But hey, that might not be the best and smartest choice because you never know. Anything at all can happen. And we're speaking about financial services, having multiple banks, have different sources of income, have different people you can rely on, because nobody knows. People change, people die, people run away, people get influenced. A lot of things can happen to make what you believed to be the most reliable link in your life to become unreliable. And sometimes you don't even get notice. I'm sure of the Spectrum incidents, they didn't even know something like that was going to happen for them to even put contingencies in place. So it is your responsibility to make sure that everything you deem necessary, you deem relevant, you deem as a need in your life, you have to find a way to have an alternate. And it doesn't have to be instant. There are some of the things that you can do right away, like getting a second bank account, like splitting your investments, like not putting all your eggs in one basket, and that might save you at a time where you need it. That might save you. There are some things you can have multiple because it doesn't make sense, like having two phone lines. It doesn't make sense. But I'm just talking about splitting services between other organizations or having contingency plans. That is when it's relevant to you. You travel a lot. How many credit cards do you have? How many bank accounts do you have? Yeah. Your credit card can fail. Your bank can decide to not process your transaction. You can be hacked and your bank will assume every transaction is fraudulent. I'm big on the bank because hey, here everything is cashless, everything is digitalized. So you need to be able to have the necessary digital resources that would route you through times when you need it. So just think about it. Reassess, reanalyze your life, look at the things that are essential in your life now and how many substitutes or alternates you have, and start working towards it. Because anything at all can happen, and you might not have the chance to react in time to make sure that you're still surviving, you're still living, or anything at all. So just think about it and act towards it. Thanks.